Fired in tears, she faced the unknown until the billionaire revealed an incredible opportunity. Sarah stepped out of the plant, her heart racing. The world felt suddenly upside down, the tears she fought so hard to suppress spilling over. Jobless. The word echoed in her mind like a drumbeat. The local manufacturing plant, the lifeblood of her family for generations, had just severed their bond. She glanced at the flyer in her trembling hand, layoffs effective immediately. What did this mean for her 6-year-old daughter, Lily? How could she keep the roof over their heads, keep food on the table? With every step home, her mind spiraled into a chasm of fear. She pictured Lily's bright blue eyes sparkling with innocence, unaware of the storm brewing in their lives. All Sarah had ever wanted was stability, the ability to provide for her child, just like her mother had provided for her. She felt like she was failing already. As she walked through the town's South Main Street, the familiar sights blurred together. Old storefronts lined the path, relics of better days. Each neighbor's smile now felt like a distant memory. She thought about how close-knit this community had been, sharing joys and burdens alike. With each drop of rain that touched her face, she could hear echoes of chatter from her childhood, laughter dancing around her like a wraith. Now, it felt heavy, trapping her in a moment of loss. Arriving home, Sarah found the neighbors gathered on her porch, warmth glowing in the flickering light of a lantern. They had brought casseroles, baked goods, words of encouragement. Their compassion wrapped around her like a comforting embrace. In that moment, she felt a flicker of hope, a reminder of resilience imbued in the marrow of small-town life. "We're here for you, Sarah," they said, and she knew she wasn't alone. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just as rays of sunlight broke through her cloudy thoughts, news swirled in town about a charity event attended by a billionaire who had left this humble place only to return as a symbol of success. His story mirrored her own struggles, igniting a flicker of desire in Sarah to believe that she too could rise from the ashes. Yet, when he approached her with an enticing opportunity to join his startup focused on revitalizing towns like theirs, doubt seeped in. Rebecca, her childhood best friend, stood resolutely against the idea. "You're turning your back on us, Sarah. On our community," she shouted, her voice cracking as emotions collided. Sarah felt the heat spike in her chest, a mix of anger and guilt. The friendship they'd built was now threatened by visions of diamonds and steel. What did it mean to seek success when her truest ties felt fraying at the edges? Caught in an emotional whirlwind, Sarah looked into Rebecca's eyes and saw not just her friend, but her own fears reflected back. Would she lose her past to chase a future? As they stood at a crossroads of dreams and loyalty, tears filled her eyes again. This time, they came with clarity. The weight of her decision loomed large, and amidst impending chaos, a realization began to bloom. Could hope and ambition coexist alongside a legacy of love? Would she dare to dream again? Sarah stood frozen at the crossroads of her life, emotions crashing like waves against the shore. The warmth and support of her neighbors on her porch felt exhilarating in contrast to the cold uncertainty chewing away at her resolve. She could still hear Rebecca's words echoing in her mind, carving doubt into her heart. Would pursuing a new path mean abandoning everything she held dear? The thought of leaving her community, of stepping away from the bonds that anchored her, sent a shiver through her body. Yet, the chance to break free from the despair surrounding her tugged at her, an imploring voice urging her to consider the life she could create for Lily. Images of a bright future flitted through her mind, a vibrant home filled with laughter, opportunities for advancement, and the hope of a better tomorrow. Wouldn't Lily deserve that? As she turned to face Rebecca, Sarah could see the veins of concern deepening in her friend's forehead. "Sarah," Rebecca pleaded, her voice softening, You don't have to chase a dream that isn't yours to begin with. Look around you. We've built this life together. It can be enough. Sarah felt the weight of those words. She wanted to scream that they were so much more than what their small town offered. She loved this place, but her heart ached for something bigger. But it's not just about me, Rebecca. It's about Lily. She needs opportunities, and that might not happen here. Rebecca ran a hand through her hair, her frustration simmering just beneath the surface. So you'll leave us behind? All for some shiny dream sold by a stranger? There's more to life than money. With every word, Rebecca's concern began to feel like a prison built out of love. It wrapped around Sarah, squeezing tight until every breath felt labored. She ached for Rebecca's understanding, wanting to convey her desire for change without the bitterness of betrayal. I'm afraid, Rebecca. I don't want to fail. That's the thing, Sarah. Her friend replied, her voice trembling. You want to fail. You have us. How will you go chasing a fantasy when you have your reality right here? The pains of uncertainty surged within Sarah, each beat of her heart commingling with the tears she had fought so hard to wipe away. Was it foolish to dream? Or was it foolish to stay stagnant? Struggling with herself, Sarah felt a new resolve brewing beneath the din of confusion. I need to explore this opportunity, she whispered. Rebecca's look hardened, disappointment draped like a heavy cloak. You don't realize what you're risking. I do, Sarah replied, her voice steady as she plucked courage from the depths of her being. But what if this is my chance to finally give Lily the life we both deserve? I don't want her to see me stuck in fear. I want her to see me brave. The silence between them hung thick, weighted with the fear of loss. But in that moment, Sarah saw that courage could also mean walking into the unknown without knowing how it would unfold. With the warmth of her neighbors still lingering in her heart, she stepped back from the brink of indecision. As if responding to her silent plea for clarity, her phone buzzed. It was a message from the billionaire, a simple yet impactful phrase that sent chills through her. Excited to see you tomorrow. Let's change the world together. Dread and excitement mingled as she realized that a single decision could send ripples through her life and community. Could she really pursue her dreams without losing sight of where she came from? As the moon hung high in the night sky, a new reality started to take shape, and Sarah could feel the resolve in her bones. But as the wake of emotions washed away, a new question loomed in her mind: could pursuing her ambitions truly help those she loved? Or would it fracture the very bonds she fought to preserve? A deep breath filled her lungs, readying her for the challenge ahead. It was time to confront the unknown, no matter how daunting it felt. As dawn broke the next day, Sarah stepped outside, heart racing, ready to make a choice that could change everything. What awaited her? At that meeting? Would she find the way to ensure her dreams were not just her own, but an extension of the love she held for her community? The uncertainty twisted inside her, exhilaration lacing through her veins like fire. As the golden rays of the morning sun painted the streets in hues of hope, Sarah felt a new kind of energy coursing through her. Each step towards the door reverberated with the potential of a new beginning. She took a deep breath, trying to anchor herself in the moment. What could she gain? What would she risk? Her mind raced, replaying the conversation with Rebecca, feeling the weight of her friend's sentiment clinging to her. But deep down, she knew this was a pivotal moment. There was no turning back now. Arriving at the cafe where the meeting was set to happen, the scent of fresh coffee wafted through the air, thick and inviting. She pushed the door open and stepped inside, her heart thrumming loud enough that she feared others might hear it. There he was, the billionaire, a figure of ambition and success. He sat at a table, looking effortlessly confident, scanning the room until his eyes locked on hers. Sarah, I'm glad you could make it, he greeted, his voice smooth like jazz. He motioned for her to join him. Thank you for having me, she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. As she sat down, a whirlwind of questions and doubts rushed through her mind. What could a man like him possibly want from someone like her? He smiled, revealing a warmness that almost put her at ease. Let us get straight to it, he said, leaning forward. I see tremendous potential in you. She blinked, uncertainty wavering inside her. Potential? In her? She managed a weak smile, listening as he spoke about a project that could change lives, including hers. Your community, Sarah, it's beautiful. But I see it has been struggling. I have ideas to revitalize places like yours. It starts with daring souls like you. For a brief moment, Sarah felt herself lured into the dream he painted. She could imagine Lily growing up in a thriving town, full of opportunity. Yet the echoes of her hometown as struggles tugged at her heart. But at what cost? I can't just leave and expect it to work out. You don't understand. Actually, I do. He interrupted gently, his eyes shining with understanding. I know it's a risk, but sometimes taking a leap of faith paves the way for others to follow. His words hung in the air, rich with possibility, yet heavy with consequence. Could she really step away and make a difference, instead of allowing fear to dictate her choices? The very thought felt both exhilarating and terrifying. What if I fail? What if it all crumbles? She breathed, vulnerability creeping into her voice. Every great achievement is born from the risk of failure, Sarah. You wouldn't be alone. You'd have your community and me supporting you. Together, we can create something transformative, he urged, resolving the doubts swirling in her mind. Waves of emotion crashed over her. Could she really be part of something bigger? Let us take your vision, the life you want for Lily, and turn it into a reality. He continued, enthusiasm glowing beneath his composed exterior. But I need to know you're all in. Are you ready to take the first step? The room seemed to close in around her, the weight of his words anchoring deep within her spirit. Sarah's thoughts spiraled. What would this mean for her friendships? For her community? For her daughter? As she looked into his intense gaze, she pondered the legacy she wanted to create. Was she brave enough to step into the unknown, with all its possibilities and fears? Taking a deep breath, she felt the spark of determination igniting again. I am ready, she finally said, her voice firm despite the quakings of her heart. But just then, her phone buzzed, breaking the moment. She glanced down to see a text from Rebecca. It read, I miss you, remember to think about us. Could she really bear to keep moving forward, knowing it could hurt the one she loved? Sarah's heart wavered at the sudden weight of the choice sitting on her shoulders. Would she be enough to lift her community without losing it? As she looked back at the billionaire, a stirring question arose within her. Could her dreams truly align with the hearts of those she held dear? The impact of that decision loomed large as she readied herself for what was next. Would she craft a future or fracture her past? A silence enveloped the cafe, a hush settling as Sarah's heart raced. The decision hung overhead like a storm cloud, grave and daunting. She felt the pull of love and friendship on one end, and the allure of a dazzling future on the other. Sarah? His voice broke through her trance, drawing her back into the moment. Are you ready? She looked into his eyes, searching for the honesty in his promise. What if I can't bring everyone with me? The words slipped out, raw and unfiltered. His brow furrowed slightly, and he leaned back, his demeanor shifting to one of contemplation. Change often means leaving some things behind, but it doesn't mean losing them forever. You'll still be their beacon, even if you step into new territory. It was a comforting thought, but her mind was still overshadowed by doubt. Could she really forge ahead and still come back to the familiar embrace of Rebecca and their tight-knit group? Taking another deep breath, she felt the stress almost buzz through her fingertips. And what if it doesn't work out? What if I fail and the burden of my dreams crushes the hope of those I love? A flicker of understanding crossed his face. Then you try again. Resilience isn't about never falling, it's about getting back up after you do. There will be challenges, but that's what strengthens the roots of any community. His words struck a chord within her, like a long-lost melody rediscovered. Could resilience be the shared heartbeat instead of a solo struggle? Just then, Sarah's phone buzzed again, almost urgent in its timing. It was another text, this time from Lily. Mom, are you okay? I feel like you're a million miles away. Her heart ached as she read the message. The innocence in her daughter's words pulled her deeper into the emotional whirlwind. She couldn't just chase wild dreams. The root of her dreams was Lily, her fierce little girl filled with hope. "I'm here, babe, just a little busy," she texted back, though the truth was far more complicated. Looking back at the billionaire, a fire ignited within her. "What if we fail together?" she found herself saying, her voice gaining strength. "If I commit to this, it can't just be about my success. It has to be about my community too." He grinned, almost like a mentor proud of his pupil's determination. "That's precisely the spirit. Promise me you'll bring your community into this every step of the way." Revitalizing isn't about saving, it's about building up everyone. She nodded slowly, suddenly imagining the faces of her friends, her neighbors, her family. Their laughter, their struggles, and their tenacity all woven into the fabric of her decision. She felt like she was hovering at the edge of a cliff, the vast unknown stretching beneath her, beautiful and terrifying. "All right," she said, a smile forming on her lips despite the uncertainty. "Let us do it. We'll build something amazing together. But I want to hear every part of your plan. I want my community involved from the start." His shock quickly turned to admiration, and a spark lit his eyes. "That's the kind of passion we need." But just as exhilaration replaced her fear, the cafe door swung open. A commotion followed, vibrant and loud. Sarah turned to see a group of familiar faces walk in. Rebecca was among them, eyes wide with surprise as she spotted her. "Sarah," her friend called out, her voice cutting through the tension. "What are you doing here?" A pang of guilt gripped Sarah's heart as she met Rebecca's searching gaze. In that moment, it all collided: the dreams she hoped to fulfill, the friendships she feared to jeopardize, and the weight of choice bearing heavily upon her. What would she say? How could she bridge the gap between ambition and loyalty right this second? The million-dollar question loomed large as she stood, the voice of her heart pushing her toward a crossroad. Could she carve a path that brought them all along with her? As she faced Rebecca, words formed on her lips. But would they mend their friendship or open a battle over dreams? Rebecca's eyes were wide, a perfect mirror reflecting Sarah's inner chaos. Her best friend had always had this uncanny ability to read her. In that moment, a swirling mix of emotions crashed over Sarah: love, guilt, fear. "Is everything okay?" Rebecca asked, stepping closer, her voice laced with concern. The liveliness of the cafe faded to a blur, focusing all of Sarah's fears on the question. "Yeah, just exploring a new project," Sarah replied, unsure of how to frame the truth. That seemed like such a small explanation for a decision that felt like it could change everything. Rebecca's brow furrowed. "Project? In a place like this?" She glanced around as if trying to understand the scene, the atmosphere suddenly thick with unspoken words. "Yeah, it's about revitalizing the community," Sarah said, feeling the urgency to defend herself. The guards were up, and she could sense Rebecca's uncertainty transforming into something more. Did her friend doubt her? Revitalizing? Rebecca echoed, incredulity rising in her tone. "You mean like with him?" She gestured toward the billionaire, who was observing the interaction with keen interest, yet remaining quiet. Sarah felt a rush of frustration blend with fear. "We're talking about big changes. Major opportunities." She paused, feeling the tension crackle between them. "You know I want what's best for everyone, for our friends, for Lily, but this could be huge. Or it could be reckless," Rebecca countered, a hint of anger lacing her words. "What about us? What about the plans we had? The community we were building together?" In this moment, Sarah realized how vulnerable she was. Every change she wished for felt like stepping onto a tightrope stretched between her ambitions and her home. "I want to bring everyone along with me," she pressed, desperation creeping into her voice. "This isn't just about me. I need you to believe that." Rebecca crossed her arms. The cafe felt smaller, the space between them heavy with unspoken fears. "But can we really trust him?" she questioned, nodding slightly in the direction of the billionaire. "Is he even invested in this community, or is this just an opportunistic venture for him?" Both, Sarah admitted, letting that truth spill out. But he's serious about helping. It's the first actual chance we've had to make a real difference. I can see it. As silence smothered them, Sarah glanced over Rebecca's shoulder and caught the billionaire's eye. He offered a confident, encouraging smile that somehow felt reassuring yet strange. The moment stretched, each second unraveling their friendship thread by thread. It was a risk one Sarah didn't know if she was ready to take, but still felt the pull towards. Rebecca's lips formed a tight line, and for a moment, Sarah feared she would push away, folding her arms protectively around her heart. I can't support something I don't believe in, Sarah, Rebecca said slowly. Just then, a loud cheer broke through the cafe as another group of friends entered, filling the space with laughter. It momentarily distracted Sarah, but when her gaze returned to Rebecca, the distance between them felt much wider. Why don't we just talk this through? Understand each other better? Sarah ventured, attempting to bridge the rift. With arms still crossed, Rebecca regarded her friend, and for a brief moment, vulnerability peeked through her steely exterior. Fine, she replied with a reluctant sigh. But you have to promise me, no matter what happens, you'll remember where you came from. You can't just leave us behind. I promise, Sarah said earnestly, hoping to weave her words into a foundation she could build on connection, trust, loyalty. But just as relief washed over her, the billionaire interjected. Ladies, how about we take this conversation somewhere more private? He stepped closer. Sarah's heart raced again, this time for a different reason. She wasn't just torn between her friend and ambition. She was about to explore the unknown, with Rebecca's apprehensive gaze burning into her back. Would the tenacity of friendship endure this test? As Sarah nodded, the clarity of her desires began to crystallize. She could feel the stakes rising, the air thick with possibility. But as they turned to leave, a voice echoed behind them, igniting doubts in her heart. Sarah, wait. You can't just walk away from everything without knowing what you're getting into. Sarah turned slowly, her heart pounding as she faced the new voice cutting through the air. It belonged to Jacob, the town's mayor and a staunch advocate for the community, who had pushed against the changes Sarah was now contemplating. His expression was a mix of urgency and concern, eyes darkening with doubt. Jacob, Sarah began, but he wasn't waiting for her to finish. I get that you're excited, but do you truly grasp the implications of partnering with someone like him? Jacob gestured emphatically toward the billionaire, who was still lurking in the background, a shadow against the brightness of the cafe. He's not just another investor. He's made promises before. You know that. Not like this. Sarah shot back. Every fiber of her being wanted to defend her vision, to believe in her path. This could be what our community needs to transform completely. I can't ignore that. I have to try. Rebecca stood silent, the tension in her shoulders suggesting she was still processing everything. Jacob's words hung heavy in the air, fracturing Sarah's resolve. Each pulse of doubt coursed through her, causing her to rethink every decision she'd made since the billionaire had walked into her life. What about your plans? Jacob pressed, his voice softer yet firm. What about the people who count on you? The children, your friends? You're about to step into territory that could hurt the very fabric of what we've built. A wave of guilt surged inside Sarah. She knew he was right. She'd always wanted to uplift, not abandon. Her dreams of revitalization felt suddenly like a betrayal to the very foundations she had vowed to protect. But I'm not abandoning anyone. That's not the goal. I want to bring everyone with me. She insisted, channeling panic into her words. By aligning with a man who views this town as just another portfolio? Jacob's voice was thick with emotion. Don't let the thrill of ambition blind you, Sarah. The surrounding noise faded the laughter, the clinking of coffee cups as she gazed between Jacob and Rebecca. Did she really want to enter this unknown world with her friend's skepticism echoing in her ears? She felt the pull of the billionaire's promise against the steadfastness of her true connections. Just then, the billionaire stepped forward, his confidence radiating like a beacon. Listen, I understand your concerns, Jacob. But I assure you, My interest in this community is genuine. I want to build opportunities, not just projects, but futures. His smooth voice carried an ease that felt both comforting and chilling. Opportunities for whom? Jacob challenged. Your bank account? Or for the people who have lived here their whole lives? Don't let the glitz fool you. The billionaire's demeanor shifted slightly, just a hint of frustration marking his features. I bring resources, connections, something that can actually sustain this town, not just keep it afloat. Can't you see? This could be a chance to create jobs, enhance living standards. Sarah struggled as she felt her own ambition wrestle against loyalty. What if they were both right in a way? The community's needs and her dreams were interwoven, and who would help if she turned down this opportunity? Yet, what if it was a facade? The questions stirred inside her, each one a wave threatening to crash down. We want to build a future on empty promises, Jacob warned. So what now? Sarah questioned, her voice laced with vulnerability. I'd just ignore the chance that us here? Should I give up my dreams because of fear? Rebecca stepped forward, her expression softening just a touch. It's not about giving up, Sarah. It's about finding a middle ground, a way that doesn't sacrifice who we are. As Sarah searched for common ground amidst the swell of conflict, she felt the weight of every decision, every relationship pressing down. Then, with a deep breath, she looked from Jacob to Rebecca, and finally to the billionaire. Let us revisit this. All of us, she declared, sensing the precarious balance between ambition and friendship hanging before her. Let us figure out how to merge visions, not clash. Suddenly, a surprising smile spread across the billionaire's face, one that hinted at a deeper understanding. You're right, we need to talk. And I promise, you won't regret this chance. But just as Sarah's heart fluttered with hope, a flash of uncertainty filled her mind. Was she truly ready to open the door to this new world? What secrets lay behind it? She moved a step closer to the edge of a new chapter, the air thick with potential. But as she took a breath, ready to speak her mind, her phone buzzed, cutting through the tension like a knife. Who could it be, and why did such a simple message suddenly carry the weight of a million decisions? Sarah's fingers danced nervously on her phone screen, her heart racing. She swiped to unlock the message, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on her. It was from her mother. We need to talk. Important. Please come home. A tight knot formed in her stomach. The tight-knit family structure of her upbringing wasn't something she could easily brush aside, especially when her mom used that tone. She glanced up at Jacob and Rebecca, their expressions a blend of concern and inexplicable curiosity. Everything okay? Rebecca asked gently, tilting her head. I need to go home, Sarah said, her voice catching in her throat. She looked from Jacob to the billionaire, whose brow had now furrowed slightly, revealing a layer of concern she hadn't noticed before. Is it something serious? Jacob pressed, stepping closer. The billionaire, sensing that the atmosphere had shifted, crossed his arms. If it's important, I could drive you. We can pick this conversation back up later. No, Sarah said quickly, shaking her head. I need to go alone. It might only take a minute. But inside, she felt a whirlpool of emotions. Was she running away out of fear, or was she making the right choice to prioritize her family? If you need support, the billionaire started, a hint of something softer in his voice. I'll be fine, she cut in, the urgency bubbling over. I just want to understand what she means. As she pivoted toward the door, her heart sank. Leaving felt like she was abandoning the conversation, the promise of opportunities still hanging in the air. Yet familial ties were not something Sarah could easily dismiss. She paused, her hand on the doorknob. Wait, Sarah, Jacob called, and she turned back, dismay etched on his face. Do you really think you'll find the answers you're looking for back home? Maybe not, she replied, her voice dropping. But I need to try. Don't go yet, Rebecca urged, stepping forward. Let us regroup after. There's too much at stake to run off like this. But the weight of the unknown cradled her, pulling her in two different directions, the promise of change and the whispers of her past flaring in a terrible tug-of-war. I'll make this quick, I promise, Sarah said, her tone more confident than she felt. This might change everything. She shook her head to clear it, stepping into the outside world where the sun momentarily blinded her. The crisp air rushed over her like a slap, sharp and refreshing, igniting small embers of determination within her. She didn't want to lose sight of what this moment meant not just for her, but for everyone in the community. As she made her way down the street, the reality of Jacob and Rebecca's concerns flooded back into her mind. Could pursuing this vision truly mean leaving everything behind? Of course, she understood their worries and the ghosts of doubt that traipsed behind her, but before she could dwell too long, her mind shifted back to her mother's message. What was so important that it made her mother reach out like this? Anxiety shimmered under her skin, the questions swirling. When she finally reached her childhood home, the familiar sight of the white picket fence brought a rush of memories: birthday parties, holiday gatherings, and laying in the grass watching clouds drift by. But today, as she stepped onto the porch, the house felt heavier somehow, as if fate had stitched together layers of tension and expectation within its walls. With hesitation, she knocked on the door. The sound echoed loudly in the stillness. After what felt like an eternity, her mother opened it, her expression unreadable. "Mom, what's wrong?" Sarah's voice came out with urgency, fear pushing through her like a wave. Her mother stepped aside, eyes sparkling with an emotion that was both pride and something deeper that looked almost like worry. "You need to hear this, dear. It affects you and everything you're planning." With her heart racing, Sarah crossed the threshold, feeling as if she were stepping into a world of unknown decisions all over again. "Tell me everything," she demanded, her voice firm yet laced with apprehension. After all, the truth could change everything. Just as the door clicked shut, a shadow loomed behind her, a sign that someone had awakened from a slumber that had been too deep for too long. What awaited her inside was more than just a conversation. It was the unraveling of a destiny she could no longer run from. The door creaked as Sarah stepped in, and the air felt thick, heavy with unspoken words. Her mother glanced back, eyes glistening like they were holding back a storm. The familiar sense of home wrapped around Sarah, baking bread, the faint hint of lavender from the cleaning products, but today they felt off, tainted with an unmistakable tension. "Mom, what is it?" The urgency laced her voice, breaking through the silence that seemed to press against her. Taking a deep breath, her mother motioned for Sarah to sit at the dining table, a place where so many important conversations had taken place throughout the years. As Sarah slid into her chair, she felt the weight of her mother's gaze. "There's something I've been keeping from you," her mother said, her voice wavering. "For years, I thought it was best to protect you from it." "What do you mean?" Panic rose in Sarah as she recalled fragments of their family history, the secrets that had always hung just beyond her reach. "What is it?" Her mother looked away, staring out the window, as if gathering strength from the view of their backyard. "It's about your father. There are things you don't know, things I never told you because I wanted to shield you from the pain." The room spun slightly. This was not what Sarah had expected. "What about Dad?" Her mother turned her gaze to Sarah, a mix of determination and despair in her eyes. "He left because of decisions he made. And it's time for you to understand why. You're not just his daughter. You're involved in something much bigger than yourself, something we both are." Before Sarah could respond, her mother handed her an old, weathered letter. "He wrote this before he left. I kept it from you to protect you, but I think you need to know the truth about who you are and what that means for your future and the path you want to take." Sarah's heart raced as she unfolded the letter, each creased line bringing more weight to her already heavy chest. The ink was faded, but the words were clear. A story of sacrifice, choices made under pressure, feelings of love intertwined with regret. As she read, a sinking sensation settled in her stomach. "I don't understand," she stammered, looking up, eyes wide with confusion. "Why did he leave? What has this got to do with me pursuing my dreams?" Her mother leaned in closer, voice dropping to a whisper. "Because you're destined for more than just this town, Sarah. Your father's actions, while hurtful, were part of a larger picture that affects everything you're trying to build for yourself. There are risks and rewards, and you need to decide what path you want to take. I think this will help you see things more clearly. Panic and curiosity grappled within her as she processed the information. How could her father's past dictate her future? But even as the words settled in her heart, another thought emerged. Was this what the billionaire was referring to? Just then, the door creaked again. Sarah turned, instincts flaring, her heart skipping a beat. Jacob and Rebecca stood there, concern etching their faces. "We were worried," Jacob said softly, stepping inside. With a deep breath, Sarah placed the letter on the table, looking between her mother and her friends. "I need to choose," she said, realization dawning on her as if she were on the cusp of transformation. But freedom came at a price, and great decisions waited on the horizon. A million questions hung in the air, just as heavy as the secrets she'd uncovered. And what was the cost of this revelation? What would happen next, now that the past had come crashing down on her like a wave, and decisions loomed ahead? The tension was palpable. Sarah could almost taste the uncertainty. "Can you help me figure it all out?" she asked, feeling, for the first time, the stirrings of hope interspersed with her fears. But just as Jacob moved to console her, her mother's phone buzzed, breaking the moment. "We need to get to the meeting. It's urgent," she said, glancing at Sarah with a newfound spark in her eyes. "Your father might not be done yet." What awaited them on the other side of that door? A reckoning with the past? An open invitation to a future she never anticipated? The answers, she feared, might lead her down a path she couldn't ignore. The car ride felt surreal, like floating through a dream. The hum of the engine was drowned out by the rush of thoughts swirling in Sarah's mind. Her mother, focused on the road, seemed to be navigating more than just the streets ahead. Sarah caught glimpses of her mother's tense jaw and clenched hands on the steering wheel. It matched the weight resting heavily in the pit of her stomach. Jacob and Rebecca exchanged anxious glances, the gravity of the moment sinking in. "Are you okay?" Jacob asked, his voice laced with genuine concern. Sarah nodded absent-mindedly, her mind racing. "I just never thought I'd be tangled in something like this. My dad. He is part of something bigger, but what does that even mean?" Rebecca reached over, placing a comforting hand on Sarah's shoulder. "You'll figure it out. We're here for you, no matter what." They pulled into the parking lot of a low-rise office building that looked stark against the evening sky. Its brick facade cast long shadows, making the building appear intimidating. Sarah's heart raced as they parked. "Let's not dwell on fear," her mother said, her voice firm yet reassuring. "This meeting might change everything." As they stepped inside, the air conditioning hit them like a wave, replacing the heavy tension with a cool reminder of reality. The office was understated, with minimalist furniture and artwork that felt cold. Sarah swallowed hard, that familiar unease creeping back. An older man in a sharp suit greeted them, his presence commanding. "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming on such short notice." "Where is he?" Sarah's mother asked, her voice carrying a firmness that surprised Sarah. "He will be here shortly." "I understand you have questions," the man replied, leading them to a waiting area. The walls were lined with framed photographs, each capturing a moment that felt distantly familiar. A younger version of her father smiled in a few, surrounded by people she didn't recognize. The minutes drifted by like hours, and the overhead lights buzzed softly. Sarah glanced around, feeling the weight of her uncertainty. "Mom, what if he is, I don't know, different? What if he doesn't want to see me?" Her mother turned and gently cupped Sarah's face. "You deserve answers, sweetheart. Whatever happens, just remember, you are strong." There was a flame of fierce determination in her mother's eyes that made Sarah feel slightly more anchored. Just then, the door swung open, and in walked a figure that made Sarah's heart leap. It was him, her father. He looked older, lines of worry etched into his face, but his presence was magnetic. Everything else blurred as he stepped forward, locking eyes with Sarah. It was like staring into a mirror reflecting fears and hopes she didn't know she had. "Sarah," he began, his voice thick with emotion. I've been waiting for this moment. All of Sarah's doubts melted away for a heartbeat. This was the man who had shaped her life from a distance, the reason behind her mother's cautious tales. Yet, before she could capture her thoughts, he continued, "There's so much we need to talk about and so much at stake. You're involved in something extraordinary, but it's not without risk." "What do you mean?" Sarah felt her pulse quicken again. His intense gaze bore into her, a mix of regret and urgency. "You have choices to make, choices that could impact not just you but the whole world." Clarity rang in those words, and a sense of adventure sparked inside her. Would she dare to embrace whatever this extraordinary journey was? Before she could respond, her mother stepped forward. "Let us take it one step at a time. We're just here to understand." But then the man in the suit adjusted his tie, breaking the thick silence. "Time is of the essence. We don't have much left." "Left for what?" Sarah asked, her voice shaking slightly. Her father drew a deep breath, and the weight of everything sat like a stone between them. "To change the future and yours. Are you ready for this?" As those words hung in the air, Sarah felt her pulse roaring in her ears. When she looked around at her friends and her mother, she sensed their shared anticipation. Could she really step into a world that was both unfamiliar and life-changing? The future sprawled ahead, a tapestry woven with threads of uncertainty and possibility. Sarah's heart raced. With so many questions clashing within her, she couldn't help but wonder, what incredible opportunity awaited them, and would she be brave enough to seize it? The room felt electric with anticipation as Sarah stared at her father. His familiar yet changed face was a reminder of the life she had missed, a tapestry of stories that could intertwine with her own. Time had slipped through her fingers, a decade ticking away without answers. The air was thick with unspoken emotions, and she felt her heart pounding against her chest. "Are you ready for this?" he repeated, his voice steady yet layered with unbridled urgency. Each word sank deep into Sarah's consciousness, an echo of her own struggles and dreams. Doubt loomed like a storm cloud, yet beneath it, a fire began to spark. This was about more than just her pursuit of success. It was an invitation to reclaim her past, to weave together the strands of her father's decisions with her own aspirations. But would she have the courage to unwrap this story? "I am ready," she whispered, feeling the weight of her decision settle over her like a warm blanket. The moment felt monumental. Thoughts spiraled about family, community, and the future. "What kind of choices?" she asked, seeking clarity. Her father's intense gaze softened just a bit as he motioned for everyone to take a seat. "Let us start at the beginning," he said, pulling out documents that had the power to transform their lives. As he shared his story, the sacrifices, the mistakes, and ultimately the vision to create sustainable futures for communities, just like hers, Sarah felt her sense of purpose solidify. The horror stories of missed opportunities began to fade as her father laid out a plan that shifted into focus. There were projects, funding, and now, the chance for genuine change. "I want you to know," he continued, "that the experiences we had shaped who you are today. You're not just a product of your environment. You're a beacon of potential. Together, we can forge a path that echoes with community spirit." Sarah felt her chest swell, warmth filling her heart. She thought of her friends, of Rebecca's fearful eyes, and of the love that wrapped around her neighbors when she returned home. They were the fabric of her life, and she wanted to build something stronger that wove them all together. "Can this really benefit everyone?" she asked, her voice steady with hope. "I don't want to abandon my community. It's the reason I want to succeed in the first place." Her father nodded in understanding. "Exactly. This isn't just about personal ambition. It's about creating a foundation for collective growth. We can uplift families, bring jobs, and instill hope. Revitalization starts from within." Sarah could almost see it, the vibrant streets bustling with laughter, local businesses reviving, her community banding together with renewed strength and spirit. Each person she loved being a part of this flourishing ecosystem, but as her thoughts danced with possibility, whispers of doubt crept back in, echoes of those who had cautioned her. "What if people resist this change?" her mother interjected, People fear what they do not understand. But by being transparent and involving everyone in the process, they will be a part of this journey rather than feeling left behind. Taking a deep breath, Sarah sensed a burgeoning resolve within her. She could be that bridge, the connector between dreams and reality. This was her moment, not just for her and Lily, but for everyone who had ever offered her a kind word. "I'll do it," she announced, a radiant smile breaking across her face. "We'll revitalize the community together. It will start with collaboration and open conversations. I want to bring my friends, my neighbors, everyone into this vision." As she spoke, relief washed over her father and mother. Jacob and Rebecca, who had quietly watched, exchanged glances of surprise and joy as they realized the magnitude of Sarah's choice. "That's the spirit," her father replied, his eyes gleaming with pride. "Let us begin by meeting with key stakeholders in the community tonight. Your voice will lead the conversation. Your passion will forge the pathway." The room erupted into soft laughter and murmurs of excitement, the kind that galvanizes a community. Sarah could feel the current of possibilities swirling around them, igniting her heart like a blazing torch. And as they moved into action, her phone buzzed repeatedly, reminders of her friends waiting just outside. With renewed energy, Sarah smiled, knowing that they would embark on this journey as a unified front. Walking out to meet them, she felt relieved, free from the shackles of doubt that had weighed her down for so long. This was the beginning of an adventure where dreams were not solitary. They always had room for love, loyalty, and community. "Let us change our world together," she cried, her voice ringing with determination as she joined the group waiting for her on the steps. And with that, Sarah stepped confidently into the future, ready to give her all, not just for herself, but for every bright blue-eyed child dreaming of more, every neighbor willing to stand behind her, and every heartbeat echoing the indomitable spirit of a town rising anew. Remember, dreams flourished in kind hearts and brave souls. So now, it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to this channel to not miss the upcoming inspiring stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread these important tales. Comment with your reactions and feelings about this ending, because your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans know how crucial this support is.